All right, in our last video we talked about multiplying with exponents, and today we're going to do dividing. So the first thing I want to mention to you guys, dividing is basically the same as fractions. Every division problem can be written as a fraction, or every fraction can be written as a division problem. And that's important for what we're going to do, because when you're looking at fractions, you can do canceling. You can cancel like terms or like factors. So if you have a fraction and you have an x on top and an x on bottom, you can cancel those out. We're going to use that to try and come up with a shortcut for dividing with exponents. So let's take a look at a question. Let's say we're doing 6 to the 7th power divided by 6 to the 4th power. And for the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take that division problem and write it as a fraction. Instead of using the division symbol, I'm going to write it as 6 to the 7th over 6 to the 4th. Those are the same thing. Fractions and dividing are the same. Now the next thing I'm going to do is the same thing we did on our last video on multiplying, is I'm going to expand everything. I'm going to write it as a whole bunch of 6's. So 6 to the 7th power would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 6's, all being multiplied together. And in the denominator, you have 6 to the 4th power. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4 6's. Now, because we have a fraction and we have a whole bunch of like terms, it's all 6's, they're all like terms actually, we can start canceling. We can say this 6 right here cancels with this one on the bottom, and this 6 here cancels with that one, this one cancels with that one, and this one cancels with that one. Now, after you've canceled out everything, so there's nothing left in the bottom anymore, what's left over is the answer. Now, the answer is 6 times 6 times 6, or 6 to the 3rd power. All right, so let's see if we can figure out a shortcut where we can do that just like we did with multiplying. We can do that without actually writing it as a whole bunch of 6's. So when we did that problem, when we did 6 to the 7th over 6 to the 4th, what we said is we're starting with 7 6's and we're canceling out 4 of them. So to figure out how many are left, you subtract. You go, well, if I have 7 and I get rid of 4, 7 minus 4 is 3. There are 3 left. And that's going to be our shortcut. So just like in our last video when we said when you're multiplying, you add the exponents, our shortcut for dividing is subtracting the exponents. And it makes it a very simple question. So let's do this. Let's do x to the 12th power divided by x to the 4th power, but we're going to do it real quick. We're not going to write it as a fraction. We're not going to write a whole bunch of x's and cancel. We're just going to use the shortcut and be done. So what I do, if I want to answer this question, first of all, just like when you're multiplying, leave the base. We're talking about x's, so leave the x. But to find the answer, you subtract. You say, I'm starting with 12. I'm getting rid of 4. 12 minus 4 is 8. And I'm done. It's that easy. Because what you're really saying is exactly how I worded it just a second ago. I said you're starting with 12 x's. You're dividing or canceling 4 of them. How many are left? 12 minus 4 is 8. All right. So again, just like multiplying, if you have more than one part to the question, like maybe you have a number part and an A part and a B part and a C part, or a P or a Q or whatever, you have all these different variables, that's fine. Just do each one separately. So let's do this example last. We have 16x cubed y to the 8th divided by 4x squared y to the 5th. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to split this up into 3 questions. I'm going to say, well, let's do the number part first. Let's do 16 divided by 4. Then let's do the x part second. That would be x cubed divided by x squared. And then finally, let's do the y part last. That would be y to the 8th divided by y to the 5th. So for the notes, I separated it, wrote each one in a different color to make it real obvious, but you don't really even have to do that. You can look at the original question and do that work. Now, once we do each one of those 3 dividing problems, we'll be done. So the number part, you don't even worry about exponents. 16 over 4 means 16 divided by 4. That would be 4. Then we do our x's. We say I have x cubed divided by x squared. So I'm starting with 3. I'm canceling out 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. There's 1x left. And then we'll do the same thing with the y's. Leave the y. I'm starting with 8, canceling out 5. 8 minus 5 is 3. So my final answer is 4x to the first y cubed. Or remember, when you get a 1 for an exponent, you don't even need it. You could just say 4x y cubed, and that would be fine. If you put the 1 there, it's fine. If you take it out, that's fine. Either way.